who's in the who is in the spot, who is not, what then does it mean for the country moving forward? We'll talk about that just a little bit. But I want to tell you what the Botswanans are saying. In our proverb this week, this is the country that we are in. And a thing about proverbs is that we as Africans, we share a lot of the same lessons, a lot of the same methods for life. This is what this one says. The child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth.
Why am I feeling like that is targeted?
I promise you that
Mama, this is that situation where when you're guilty and you go online and you see people saying you think they're targeting you,
think
but
it's about you.
Actually, your laugh made me think, wait a minute, what's the connection? Then it hit me. Oh, snap. Wait, it's a coincidence.
Yes.
Shall I repeat the proverb?
Please do.
The child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel its warmth.
Kufa dereva makanga kila mtu.
What?
Ata mama mboga at the roadside. That's why I'm like, that is targeted. No. That is actually kind of true. But however, that is mostly with people who are destructive. People who, the only way they understand, the only language they understand to get their way is to be destructive. Yeah, but if you're a person who's about building, then it's different. And now that's me relating it with my situation. We are not burning down any villages or anything. We are focusing on being constructive.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Now, in terms of constructive, a constructive leadership, there seems to be sometimes, everything flying all over the place. And people are asking the question, where is the goal? Usually where it's like there's the bullseye, right? And everybody should be aiming to get that bullseye. But it would appear as though arrows are being shot all over the place. Somebody is here saying, okay, I want to be this, I want to be that. And we're asking, where is the space for alternate leadership? We'll come into the wrangles every now and then and how they play into all of this. But is there a direction that Kenya is going at the moment?
First of all, in leadership or in the spaces of where you are hoping to achieve power or to be a leader or to take some form of, front row, no one is going to give you the space. Nobody, nowhere, not in any workplace. There's nowhere where you'll be told, oh, now there's a vacancy, because nature abhors vacancies. So when you ask, is there space for alternative voices, alternative leadership? First of all, there's no space for anything. It is upon you to create that space for yourself and to create that space for the vision or for the type of leadership you think you are bringing. That is why you see some of the younger leaders have decided to chart their own path. And I am one of them. But to think that someone will give you space, I'm telling you, I've not been in politics long, but no one is going to give you space even to breathe. Yeah.
And if you talk about the breathing space, so you're not given that space.
You have to fight for it, chart your path, and be determined about it, because you'll face a lot of obstacles. Because obviously anyone who's intending to change the status quo anywhere will be fought immensely by the cartels who are used to the system that is in the place. In any place, in parliament, as you have seen, the way they have fought me, because my intent was to change the status quo. Now you see the younger leaders coming up. You've seen Wamushomba being suspended for 20 days yesterday because they are attempting to change the status quo, which is not a good place for our country to be. So you'll be met with a lot of opposition, with a lot of, you better be ready to lose everything. So, and that's what you're seeing happening now. But what is encouraging is all the messages of motivation and, the messages that you get from the public who you're fighting for the people, your constituency of people. It's encouraging sometimes just to wake up and read that message that says, you know what, we might not be active online, we might not be active in the spaces that you are in, but we support you. There's a huge silent majority that is banking on you as the person who has decided to take up that mantle and change the status quo.
You will be asked this question often, and that is that at the beginning of this administration, there was no question where your loyalty, solidarity, allegiance laid.
Yes.
It was not there was no question.
Yes.
And that in every opportunity that you got, you not only endorsed but fought for the administration of the president.
There was no doubt, and there still is no doubt where my loyalty is.
Okay.
Yeah, because I love this country. My loyalty will forever be in upholding the Constitution, doing the things that are right for Kenyans. And at the beginning of this administration, I do believe that the intent was aligned with my loyalty. My loyalty will forever remain to stand by the truth and to stand by doing good and doing the right things for the people that you've been put to represent. I was nominated to represent women. Surely, at what point will I be standing proud to speak of the numbers of femicide? At what point will I be proud to see women in leadership being taken out of their leadership positions? At what point will I be proud to see the level of sexual harassment? Yesterday, you saw the president talking about corruption in parliament. When I spoke about corruption in parliament and the cartels, I sat on this chair, I was suspended. The president is now echoing what I said. He's echoing what I said at the beginning when I started realizing all is not well. It is just a matter of time before the president confirms that it is his administration that has the highest number of sexual harassment. So you can see with time, I am still loyal because I'm loyal to the Constitution, loyal to doing the right thing, and loyal to ensuring that when you're given a position of leadership, you carry it with the responsibility that it deserves.
So when did the hiccups begin, Gloria? Because if you're talking about loyalty from the very beginning, that has not dwindled or faded, that it still remains the same till date. So when did things start to get sticky for you? And let's also connect it to the fact that just a few days ago, what did the president say? He said that with the companionship, now with the partnership with Raila Odinga, that we're going to see that the 2/3 gender rule is achieved in this broad-based government, amongst some of the things.
If that was really the intent, even just on that question on the 2/3 gender rule, why the hell would they continue nominating men in positions where they should be nominating women? You've seen what happened at the Kenya National Human Rights Commission. The reason why Duncan Ojwang, who, by the way, is a brilliant lawyer, the reason why the whole appointment or nomination of his had a challenge was because the administration was not following the 2/3 gender rule. If the vice chair is a man, it is automatic that you have to nominate a woman. So if indeed, you see, this is where the lies start showing. Because if indeed those are the things that they did a handshake after the Gen Z movement and said we are going to work on. You know, you can always lie that this is what you want to do, but your actions will just show the world what you really want to do. If you look at even the latest appointments, you look at the latest things. In fact, the thing that I've seen this administration likes is to reduce us back to the kitchen. If you go to the Star and look at page 2, the photo that they like to show as women, that is Governor Wanga helping to fry the fish. Because that's like a nice photo, right? There are photo where the woman, we are cooking. There you can prosper. You understand? The intent will always be shown by your actions. And for me, my actions and my intent have been the same. And I think, I made a promise to myself when I lifted that Bible. And I remember telling my colleagues that time, we were all besties when we were coming in, freshers. I said, I will never let this place change me. Parliament is not going to change who I am. I will change Parliament. And I'm the only one who stood by that word where we kept on saying, we are not going to change who we are. We've come here on a mission. You know, we were with certain senators when we were saying, let us remember this day and how good we feel about being in this position of leadership. Nowadays, I look at them clapping at all sorts of mediocrity, cheerleading at injustices that are being meted to Kenyans. And I refused. I said, I'm not going, Parliament won't change me. Parliament will not make me corrupt. Parliament will not make me the person that they want to turn me into. I will change Parliament. So I'm happy to see the president also saying what I've been saying. I'm being punished for saying what the president is now saying, that Parliament is corrupt.
So I have to just, on that question, then I still have to ask that, where did then things go sour? Because it would appear that there was a souring of things, and this is why we see, okay, Gloria Orwoba spoke up, and she said, you know what, I have been sexually harassed by somebody in Parliament, and it cannot stand, okay? Then we saw a bit of friction. And then you said, no, whatever is going on with, some of these jobs abroad,
projects.
some of these projects, there's a problem here. There's corruption here. Are you saying that because you stood out to speak over things which the government had already said that they were speaking out against anyway, that then you were being targeted?
And those are the ones that you know of. You will not believe. I mean, it's just that I'm a person of... there are things that I don't share my personal messages or any forums that I'm... You will not believe the things that I spoke up against, even including against some of the cabinet nominees, and said, sincerely, let us not joke with this sector. Let us put someone who's actually... Because I'm not a person who's afraid to speak up. So in those are the things that you know are the ones that came to the public. But even behind the scenes, when things started going wrong, when the president and his team started making some decisions that didn't make sense, I spoke up, including in appointments, projects, budget appropriation, decisions on certain human rights matters. You know, I'm a big activist in terms of women's rights and ensuring that the girl child is taken care of. I spoke up in those forums. They got tired of me. They got tired of me reminding them, guys, we are in office. You know, when you see the president lamenting about corruption, what is a common mwananchi supposed to do? If your president is coming to complain to us, parliament is corrupt, but tomorrow he will say, I have numbers in parliament. That's why they've passed all these absurd bills. So if you have numbers in parliament, and now not only do you have your numbers from Kenya Kwanza, you also have numbers from the handshake. It is your members then who are corrupt. Why don't you call your members or even arrest them? Because you are saying parliament is corrupt. And in fact, specifically, you have said members of parliament. You're not even talking about the whole parliament as an institution. Members of parliament are yours. So if you come to the electorate to complain about your numbers that are corrupt, what do you expect the public to do? You as the party leader, as the handshake or the person who is running the show between this broad-based thing, should be able to say, Kimani Ichung'wah, come. I hear the chairman of ABCD is asking for bribes. Can you summon those people to State House? In fact, those are the meetings that we should be having in State House instead of turning State House into a rally, into a ground for rallies. This Friday that is coming, day after tomorrow, today is Thursday, so tomorrow. Yeah. Tomorrow, you will not believe if I tell you that up to 5,000 to 8,000 people from Kissi County and Nyamira are being shipped to go to State House.
For?
Exactly, for what?
Who's leading them there?
The people who they have chosen, you know, the usuals. I call them boys. Allow me to call them boys. Those boys, Kinaosoro, Zahir. In the grand scheme of thinking, let's go as far back as you want to go back. Since when has State House been a campaign ground? And not that we don't want people to go to State House. In fact, State House should be open for everyone to go and seek audience with the president in terms of, I have seen that there's not enough money allocated, let's say, for the basic needs such as water in terms of bowls or whatever. You know, so you can make sure you have ferried 5,000 to 8,000 people from Kissi and Nyamira County to State House. And you know the mobilizers who are calling people, because I'm from Kissi, are saying that each and every person who goes to State House tomorrow is receiving 100,000. That is the word on the ground.
Each and every one of these 5,000 people who are going to State House
That
tomorrow.
is the word on the ground.
For what?
We are also waiting to see. I'm just coming here to tell you what is happening in the ground. That there's a meeting in State House tomorrow. 5,000 plus people are being shipped from Kissi to State House. And word on the ground with the mobilizers who are there is they are saying that yule ambaye kila mtu anaenda andika jina whatever ukifika we are giving 100,000 to each person. Now back to my story. Instead of calling those your corrupt members of parliament who you are claiming are corrupt to State House, to tell them, in fact, DCI or NIS or whatever have shown me this, you are asking for bribes. And you are part of this government that is fighting corruption. You are busy ferrying 5,000 to 8,000 people to showcase might that, in fact, Kissi might have a presidential candidate coming against me, but I can ferry 8,000 because of the promise of handouts.
Okay.
So, you know, even that I was thinking to myself as I was sitting out there, we really, as legislators, I don't know where our minds are, because a law must be placed, because if someone will come in there and decide, instead of working, State House is supposed to be a place where you work, you move policies, you work, kazi. It's like now this studio, we start turning it into a marketplace or a rally.
So it seems, well, there's the politics of mobilization, then there's the politics of tokenism. So it appears what we actually then see out here, though it's not secret, where then you are giving tokens for people to either attend a meeting or to a certain line.
For optics.
And for optics.
Yes.
The numbers are so important to every politician. Then, in your experience in Parliament, because this is what the president is saying, that it can't now be business as usual. This is what has been happening. And roped in judiciary and also spoke about ACC coming in, and there is no question of there's a phone call high up or orders from above or below. And you earlier said that when you got into Parliament, you and many of your colleagues were very excited, and the idea was, what change then can you bring now that you are new members in the House? How fast did people start going down in terms of you lose all
We didn't even take our first salary.
Wait, it happened even before your first
By
salary
the time
hit.
we were receiving the first salary, I was running solo.
What do you mean?
You know the way you put a pact, you're like, we will not change, we will. By the time the first salary was coming in, it was only me standing there with my pact.
In September 2022?
Yes.
So what happened?
And the only thing that happened after that, it became worse. And
but you still showed a brave face in public.
I did. You know, if I don't do it, then who's gonna do it? I have said this is the hill I've chosen to die on. Because I know what I wanted to achieve when I joined. People are thinking you're crazy, you should have taken the money, you should have put your head down and just, gotten your salary.
So
and
wait,
everything.
before that first salary came in, already there were calls to do certain things and money was changing hands. Is that what you're saying? What
already
happened?
there, you could see the people who you had an allegiance to bring change had started being influenced because they were targeting certain committees, to be in certain committees as members, so they would be, you understand, they were like, you could start saying, hapa utabaki peke yako. Because
so
now
people lobby to get into certain committees.
Of course people lobby to get into certain committees, which is normal, because even me, there is a committee that I really lobbied to be in the ICT committee, because that is where my passion was, and I wanted to get some changes. Lobbying is not the problem. The problem is when it comes down to, if you want us to put you in this committee, you must do this. Or you must, pledge allegiance to this person. So these are
fellow MPs who then ask you, or...
I mean, it can be anything. Even, for me, it even goes down to staff. I've spoken about the real members of parliament are not the elected ones. They are the staff members who sit in parliament. Those are the guys who run the show. You go get your votes. When you come, you will find a clerk there who will give you directions of which bill you are going to table. So that's how it is. And the thing about this situation is, some of the staff members who are actually very, who have the same ideologies, I believe, with the change, people want to make change, are actually praying that this term needs to end. Because according to them, and they keep saying this, they have never seen such a horrible lot of members of parliament, than this lot. In the Senate, some of the staff members always say, we long for the days when Orengo and his team used to be senators.
And is this directly linked to...
And I totally understand where they're coming from, because they're coming from the place where these are people who knew why they came to parliament.
If we are saying, because this is serious stuff, we can maybe smile at it, but we can't downplay it. Because if you're already told what bill you will propose, if you're already told this is how you will operate, if you're told that this is how you are going to function as a member of parliament, whether you're in Senate, whether you're at the National Assembly, then you have to ask questions about what happens to lawmaking. Can we actually then have legitimate lawmaking in this country? Will it be authentic? Can you have proper representation of the people? Can you then have independent budget making? Can you do that? And oversight?
You see, apparently, I can't speak for the previous, but from what I hear from the staff members there, apparently before this particular parliament, before this group of members of parliament, apparently, as much as there was some influence, apparently there was a lot of independent thinking. And I'll give you an example. I went in with 6 bills at the beginning. One of the bill that I really was passionate about pushing was Section 22 of the Election Act, which is about degrees. And remember, before the election, last election, there was this whole thing that in order for you to be a member of parliament, you need to have a university degree and what. At that time, I was still in my activist stage. So I opposed it because there was the issue of the diploma people. There was the issue of people. University is not a luxury for everyone. It is not provided for free by there. So the grounds for opposing it were more about equity and ensuring that leaders are from across board. So when I said to myself, if I go to parliament, I will make sure that I legislate on that Section 22, because the issue was, what are the minimum requirements for you to run for office as a member of county assembly? Or, there are no minimum. It's not really, there's no framework. So when the High Court declared that Section 22 was in fact unconstitutional, that's when all these people were allowed to vie. People always say the likes of Oscar Sudi, all these MPs who don't have degrees, they were allowed to vie because it was declared unconstitutional, that particular section. Now, I remember saying to myself, oh my goodness, one of the things I must go in when I go in is to provide a framework, a legal framework of what is the minimum, what do you call it? Minimum for you to become qualifications. So that is one of the bill that I presented. That bill never even got to drafting. You understand? So now when the issue of recalling a member of parliament came to play, and you have had IEBC saying that they would like to, facilitate the petitions, but there's no legal basis, there's no legal framework, because Parliament has not passed a legal framework to recall your MP. I laughed. You know why I laughed? It's the same way when I took my proposal of Section 22 to give a minimum qualification of who should run for MP or whatever, it was not even drafted. Because if it was drafted and passed, it would mean 2027, people would actually have a framework of if you want to pass. And I wasn't trying to take everyone to university to get a degree. I was simply trying to legislate that at the bare minimum, those who are running for member of county assembly, they go to Huduma centers. There's this basic exam that you do. You learn about the county assemblies, what you'll be doing as your work. If you're running for MP, there's a basic exam that you do. And it doesn't have to be written, because there are people who want to be leaders that they can't read, they can't write. So it can be orally given. It would include the people with disability. So it was the issue was, we must put a framework of understanding, are you capable of going to the county assembly, to the National Assembly, or to the Senate? They did not even draft that bill. So when this issue of recalling MPs came, and IEBC is correct to say that they don't have a legal framework, because really they don't. The legal framework has to be passed by the same people you are trying to recall. They'll never pass it. You understand? Now, the issue there is, that goes to show you, it's not that no one has proposed it. As I've said, like Section 22 have proposed. It's just that they will never allow it. But it begs to ask you the question, if you can't recall an elected member of parliament because IBC says there's no legal framework, how have I been recalled? Because if you can recall me, then you can recall an elected member of parliament. Because the law is clear that once you get to parliament, you are not nominated or elected. You are members of parliament. So if a party can find a way legally, which is not even stipulated, it is actually not stipulated in law, but my political party has tried to find a way to recall me, because what they have done is to recall me. And as you can see, I've not been in office. Why can't you recall an elected member of parliament?
Because it's the same process.
It's the same. It should be, and it is. So it is a whole fallacy. That's why I'm saying, if these institutions were independent, we would not need to sit here and talk about why we are giving away Kenya Pipeline.
I'm going to ask...
we would not need to sit here.
I need to ask you, and there are two questions, but the first one is, first of all, you to an extent, were close to the president. Yes?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Because I do remember at the beginnings of it, you told us that, you know what? I wanted to be I wanted to be part of this politics going towards leadership. And the president called you at some point and told you, let's go about it this way.
Yes.
This is the way in which you should start.
Yes.
And he advised you.
Yes.
So that means to an extent, Gloria, you understood his thinking.
Yes.
You understood his mindset. You understood. Then another question which requires a yes or no. Do you think that all of this stops and ends with his leadership as the president?
Absolutely.
All right. Now,
And one thing I can tell you is the president that we see in State House today is not the president that we campaigned for.
okay, so now that was my next question. If you know the president in the manner in which you said that you did, and he advised you on a personal level about what to do with leadership and how to go about it, you campaigned for him tooth and nail, endlessly, tirelessly, until he got into that position. And it would appear as though everybody on this team was moving forward. Somewhere along the line, things didn't go the way in which you envisioned them to. And there are many people who've dropped off along the way. So were you fooled? Were all of you fooled in terms of who you thought the president was? Or did you see the red flags as many of us often do and ignore them?
You
hoping
see,
that it would be different.
First of all, I always tell people that when we have these conversations with me, I only know politics as of 2019. So when people say, you know, when we were with Ruto in URP, I can't resonate because I was not with Ruto in URP. I was never in Jubilee. My politics begins in 2019. So having said that, I can't address, did you see any red flags? Because from 2019 to 2022, when we got into office, was the same person with a vision, with a passion to change this country. 2023, that's when I feel like, okay, what's happening? What's changing? Why does it feel like we are no longer going the bottom-up economic affair? Why does it feel like it's no longer about the hustler nation? Why does it feel like everything has become a business venture? And then when I started voicing out in our platforms, I was literally put aside as the negative one. The one who doesn't see any good thing in what we are doing. Fast forward, when we went to 2024, that's when Gen Z happened. Prior to Gen Z happening, there were so many things that led up to Gen Z. Even in our platforms, there was, like in our internal communications, there was a lot of things that was happening. There was the fights that we could now see between...
Is this the party internal communication or
the party,
the Senate level?
The party internal communication. The Senate level, they removed me a long time ago. When they suspended me, they removed me from those platforms. Thank God, because those platforms never used to add value. So, but I'm talking about now the party. And, anyone who was in that internal party thing, you could see that something is coming. By the way, it is not that the 2024 Gen Z protests caught the government of like they didn't know about it. You could
knew it was coming?
I mean, if they didn't know it was coming, how come me? I knew it was coming. I could feel, the way uko kwa ground, you'd go to a supermarket, you talk to people. So you can feel something is coming. People are mad. There's a lot of anxiety. And even within our platforms, within leadership, there were a lot of fights, real fights.
What are the fights about?
A lot of fights between, because now the fight between the president and the deputy president, Rigathi Gachagua, were now devolving down to our level. And it almost felt like everyone had to pick a side. Because obviously, Rigathi Gachagua was fighting for some different direction. And there was a lot of pushback from the president's side. So, I mean, some of the things have now come out to play when you hear Gachagua saying he was not of the opinion that people should be shot in the streets during demonstrations. When those conversations were happening internally, as children of the parents, you are forced to either use your brain and pick a side or just close your eyes and be allegiant to whoever you think brought you to that space. Please. So some of us who are actually outrightly saying, okay, on this one, Gachagua is making sense. I think we should do ABCD. On this one, I think Gachagua maybe take a step back. People used to ask me, what's wrong with you? Mbona unasema hizo vitu? hapa we kwanza umenominatiwa na Ruto, kufa na yeye. And you know, some of those things, it requires that you actually say, no, as much as you have given me this, it is actually my responsibility to tell you, you are wrong on this one, and he's right on this one. And not many people have that guts, because many people fear the president.
And within those groups, how many of you, or maybe even more directly, did you ever have direct access to the president?
Yeah.
Did you ever share any of those concerns?
Yeah. In the groups, I would share in the group where everyone can see this is my position, and then I would go ahead to share it with him in the private message or on call him or
and he would respond?
Well, especially on those ones where I was going against what he thought, he would not.
So on a blue tick.
For instance, this thing for the labor exports, I called it out. And later I found out many MPs had also been deceived to bring their constituents to the labor export, and their constituents had been conned.
But because you spoke
But
about
they were quiet because, you know, maybe in hindsight, because they are practicing politicians, they knew if I talk about this thing, it's going to be bad. I am glad that I was ignorant to the fact that I didn't have any background on politics, because I spoke about it. I keep talking about it. And it didn't turn pretty because Alfred Mutua is still advertising those fake jobs.
till today.
So my issue here is, you asked me, when did it start going? Yeah. So it's not like one day it was black and the next day it was white. It was like a depreciation of the values that we came in, the joint vision that we had. It was like day by day, changing. And then obviously, like any union, at one point someone will say, no, this is not what I signed up
But
for.
you've gone as far as to say that the president, the same man that you campaigned with and for, is not the same man.
It's
that
not the
was
same
down
one.
on- How does he change?
He's
Or
changed,
Is he not
he's
being the
changed.
same person through and through?
I feel he doesn't really care at this point about what the public says. And I feel the people who have surrounded him have put him in a bubble that makes him believe that he has enough time to turn this thing around with handouts. That's what I feel.
Okay.
And back then in 2022, he would be the one that tells you, au hata usiende kuwapatia kitu yoyote, au si kura yetu. He would be the one to tell you that. He would tell me, we don't have votes in Kissi, so don't put so much effort in
there.
bringing out the voters, because the voters will come out but
And
they
not
won't vote for
you.
me, so you better keep them at home. He was very practical. Right now, you look and you're like, oh, you're going to ship 5,000 people from Kissi and Nyamira
And
to
give
State
them-
House, and then you think that will translate to votes in Kissi and Nyamira. That's not something the Ruto of 2022 would do. The Ruto of 2022 would have said, okay, Kissi looks like it's gone. What's up on the table? Let's go to Isiolo. Let's go to Marsabit. Let's go to Western. It's not so bad. He would be practical in his thinking.
Yeah.
I think what has happened to him is what happened to Uhuru Kenyatta, and I think Raila has that energy where he makes you believe once he comes and joins you, you're home and
You're
dry.
gold.
Yeah.
Okay. So we also have other things going on at the same time where there seems to be rallying for the public's attention. And it kind of likened to what, according to you, is happening at State House from tomorrow. It's been happening in different parts of the country. Mombasa, Kericho, Eldoret, Homa Bay, Kisumu, Meru, Embu. It's called economic empowerment, whereby this has sworn to happen. But it seems it's off plan. And I say that intentionally because the plan was how this administration was going to deliver development to the country. Again, something that you're very aware of. Is this how it was supposed to go?
This is not how it was supposed to go. In my last public appearance, I said, Kenyans don't want a manifesto because they have realized even a very good manifesto can be brought down to handouts. Our manifesto was awesome. The plan that we had was, if we followed it to the T, without all this conflict of interest of people doing business with government and all that, we would be so far. We would not have seen the animosity that Kenyans have against this, against our government. What is happening is there's no time to execute the plan because we wasted a lot of time in the first 2 years. We just wasted time. We wasted time doing a lot of things that didn't matter. We wasted time appointing people who had no capacity. We wasted time appointing people, putting them in high-level positions, cabinet positions, and yet they didn't believe in the plan that we had. They didn't really care about the plan that we had.
Yeah.
That's why certain scandals came about, fertilizer, all these things. So we wasted a lot of time, and we don't have time to catch up.
So those things it's gone.
So what you're seeing happening is normally in a politician's life cycle, and I'm not a veteran politician, but in any politics, especially the politics of Kenya, if you're not able to use the resources that have been given to you to work for the people, towards the end, when you have no other option,
you come back.
You just line them up and give them 50 shillings each, and you bribe them to vote for you. So what you're slowly seeing is the bribing of voters, because there's a realization with 1 year and 20 months or something to go, what are you going to achieve in 1 year and 20 months?
Okay, so there was an economic plan. And again, we came off the back of an election that was, really fought on the economic lines.
Yes.
And so it would appear as though this economic development empowerment that we see is going right in line with that. But then many questions are being asked. Where does the money come from? How are you then going to be able to sustain it? Will the people think about you beyond that day when you go out and give them this? But it seems to go fundamentally against what it was said was going to happen. There were promises of giving mothers diapers for 3 months to take care of their children.
That is so funny.
You laugh, but
I am laughing because I was on the stage clapping.
You said this was going to happen.
I was clapping. Even I was so excited. I just gave birth, so I knew that this thing is going to help me. And so I was clapping. It never happened.
Was there ever an intention for it to happen? Because there is intent, and then there's somewhere down the line.
There was an intent. There was an intent for it to happen. And as I said, a lot of things went wrong. Honestly, when we were pledging those things, the intention was there, even by the president. His intent was actually to deliver. But the mistake starts when you bring a team that doesn't even understand what you're going to deliver. And at that moment, it just started going downhill. But let me say also that, I was laughing because you talked about we came with economic charters, yeah?
Every county.
Every county, including Kissi County. We had a whole economic charter for Kissi County. It included an airport. Yes.
Okay.
We had an airport for Kissi County. We had...
You shouldn't tell Dennis.
Let me tell you, Dennis. We had plans for Kissi County which would change Kissi County. We had plans for making sure that we would put cottage factories within Kissi County, bring in investors for that. We had plans for, what was it called? Not only manufacturing in Kissi County. We had plans on last mile connectivity, electricity and water. We had plans on our roads. We had plans on our border between Uganda and Kissi. We had plans for our Kissi County economic charter is fire. Now we are fearing 5,000 Kissis to State House, allegedly, to give them
money.
100,000 each.
The president said yesterday.
That is what the mobilizers are saying now on the ground.
No, the president said yesterday, in light of what you just said, that the ongoing transformation in the country, that obviously includes those county economic charters and the implementation of the same, that the transformation in the country is being undermined by corruption, decrying how public resources meant for service delivery are rarely used for their intended purpose. This was in the same thread with what is happening in the parliament.
I think the president is very confused. He's very confused. Because I've sat in State House where he said he can't give an airport to Kissi County.
He said that?
Yeah. It was an outright no.
Why?
He said something to do with the people have told him, the land, I don't know what stories. And the airport has been taken to... Anyway, let me not say that because my lawyers are tired. But the airport is not going to Kissi.
Because of a land issue?
They tried to cover it with all these things of an expert has said that our land, the terrain cannot afford and what, a lot of stories.
But Kissi is just one example.
Forget the airport. Maybe truly the airport can't go to Kissi. Let's assume for a second. What happened to all the cottage industries we were supposed to do in Kissi County? What happened to those? And let him not say, go and ask the governor. Because now the governor and the president are together. So we're asking you, because you did economic charters for Kissi County. And he even gave us an advisor who sits there from Kissi County, who sits in the presidential advisory team, who was leading the Kissi County economic charter. So actually, he got his job in State House by virtue of leading the Kissi County Economic Charter. What has he implemented there? Nothing.
If we stretch it out of Kissi to the other counties, is this transformational agenda?
See
Because
why I
you are
speak
pa- you
why
are
I
part
speak
of
about
it.
Kissi. I might not know what's happening in Meru and Embu and even all these other places, but I know what is not happening in Kissi, and I'm giving that as an example. And what I want to say is, if indeed you knew you were not going to give us an airport in Kissi County, why mislead us to think that we are going to be landing in Kissi County, and you knew you were going to outrightly come and say we are not giving you an airport? Yet it was in the economic charter. This advisor who got a job in State House as an advisor because he was running the Kissi County and Nyamira economic charters, if he was called today to studio and told, okay, bring the economic charter, what have you delivered? At least me, I always say, even if you call me to studio and say, Gloria, you went for the women charter, you led the women charter, you promised us diapers, da. Do you know I can account for my time in Senate and what I have worked on towards that women charter? I've done a lot of work in terms of even pushing legislation for sanitary pads. In terms of femicide, you saw me ensuring that some of the culprits were even deported out of this country, working with the Ministry of Interior. I can actually account for my work with relation to the women charter that I pushed for. But right now I'm asking myself, was I the only one who was believing those things? Was it all a joke? And it's sad. You laugh and then you don't know if you can laugh and you're crying or you don't even know.
There is an argument, and allow me to ask you this. There is an argument that perhaps the reason why you would speak the way you speak is you haven't been given what they would refer, quote unquote, a plum position. If you are given a position in government...
But I was given Senate. Senate is a very high-standing position.
You're nominated to the Senate. But if you had a position of influence beyond that...
I had a position of influence.
No, beyond that. I'm asking beyond that. Would the conversation be the same? And
but
the reason
that's why I'm answering you.
Yes.
Senate is not a small place.
The reason I'm asking this, is there's been an argument that of late there seems to be those who are perceived to be fallouts coming out and saying, this is not the president we knew, this is what conversations were like, but seems like he has changed. And all of a sudden, he appears to be the bad guy. And then you have people now who have allied themselves to this other side and saying, we are not working with this person, we don't know this person.
I think how I can answer that question is, first of all, I am a beneficiary of us being in government. Because if I was not nominated to the Senate, I would not be here in studio in my capacity. You would not know me. Actually, people say, unajifanya kama si Ruto atunge kujua. Hiyo nimekubali. Yeah, he is the one who... why should I refuse? Yeye ndo alisema, actually, kama I nominate you, come and work in my team. Mgala muwe lakini haki mpe. But that doesn't mean now I am forever indebted and I cannot see anywhere. I see what is happening. And Senate is a very high position. This is the upper house. And I have influence to the extent that you could pick up the phone and call a cabinet secretary. That is where also my problem started. Because when I realized you put them in the internal WhatsApp group, they ignore you, I would pick up the phone and I would tell Alfred Mutua, what the hell is going on? You understand? I would pick up the phone when Aisha Juma was in office as a Minister of Gender and tell her, by the way, Waziri, we need to be serious about sanitary pads and diapers. So, and me taking action with that influence also got me to brush off wrongly with certain people. Because certain people will tell you, I'm not, like, even without telling you, they'll be like, Sifanyi Zovito. And for me, I would not take that as the end. Me, I'm the kind of person who will now go when we are in the meetings in State House and say, by the way, I asked your cabinet secretary for ABCD to do ABCD. They told me they want to do so. Obviously, I rubbed a lot of shoulders the wrong way. And still, my thing is, that doesn't mean that because you're on self-preservation of keeping that seat that you were given, you stop trying to fulfill some of the things that you promised Kenyans.
Is that what is happening to many of your colleagues?
Silent people are on self-preservation because they need the job and they need the money. And
they have families. For how long?
And they have mortgages. There are people who walked in Senate and the first thing they do is they took a 40 million mortgage and they took a 15 million car loan. And if today you were to suspend them like I was suspended for 6 months, auctioneers would be at their door. So they have to shut up. Because they have financial responsibilities.
So that they can pay.
They have to buy their time. There are people live today who are told, if you speak up, we will as much as suspend you like Wamushomba for 20 days. They can't survive a suspension of 20 days. Because a suspension of 20 days means you're not getting your salary for 20 days. Which means their mortgages, their financial obligations, their car loans, their what will be up for, So they are silent because they know the position they are in. So I know the position I am in. Not to say that I have all the money in the world. I mean, I need the money. But when I went in, I didn't go in for those things. You see, when people are giving me pressure, take a mortgage, I'm like, that's not why I came here. That is not why I came here. I didn't come here to get a home. Those are things I'm done with, I came here because I wanted to be a change maker. That's why you see I'm staying my course. It is painful. I'll be honest with you. It is not, people see me talking and they think it's easier said than done. It's not easy. It's not easy. In fact, people will say, oh, simu yako itaacha kulia. The good thing, I am also not I look social. I'm not a social person. So all those social engagements and those things people used to do in parliament, I'm a bit of a loner. So even simu aija change because it's been the same. But it's not easy, obviously, to see some of the things that you could have been talking about in parliament and now you can't be in parliament. It's not easy. It's not easy also to be able, being in a position where you can call the president and tell him, change this and that, and he would actually change. It's not easy seeing the wrong things that are going and you can't pick up the phone and tell him. It's also not easy as a woman in politics being given all this backlash on the sexual abuses.
Yeah.
You recently, saw they fined me on 10.5 million. That was a punishment from the state to me. And it's not easy for me to fight that. I'm fighting it, we are appealing it. But you're fighting a system. So people have to understand. I keep telling people who are saying one term, you're fighting a very high-level, complicated and powerful system.
And is it...
and it's not going to be about hashtags. You need to put on your boots. You need all hands on deck. And it's not easy. I keep telling people, it's not going to be as easy as singing one time.
In your opinion, what do you see as the change that's coming ahead of, this next election cycle?
You know what I hope for? I hope that we eventually have a president who actually will not bring another manifesto. Because we have had 3 powerful manifestos that have not been implemented to the latter. I hope we have a president that understands. Just speak where Kibaki left, where Uhuru left, and where Ruto never touched.
So where are you here? So I mean, as we round this down, I mean, we looked at it, obviously, for eyes to be opened from your perspective. But where are you now in terms of, things and how they...
Someone said, you guys don't put me in a box. I am the only senator who has been kicked out of Senate like a gazillion times. So you can't put me in a box of people who don't even know the path I've walked. I'm the only woman leader within that parliament who has come out openly to speak of the sexual harassment that goes on there. So when you ask me, so where are you now? I am where I was at the beginning. I am a change maker. And even if my change will just be moving from 265 million worth of the budget of sanitary pads to 1 billion, I'm happy with that change because that's change that would have never been reached. So for me, I see myself as a change maker. I see myself as, let me say, the square peg in the round hole.
Yeah.
And anyone who tries to put me in a box will not be able to work with me. The people who've been able to work with me have understood, don't take me and put me in a box. You know our communications, just understand me, understand my path, which is a path of, I would like to see certain things in. I want to get to a place where in this country, when you report a sexual harassment case, within 3 months, a verdict has been gotten.
Has been good, yeah.
Whether positive or negative, the judicial system works, at least to that extent. And in order for that to happen, there has to be, it's not just advocacy. So I'm also the type of person who believes that if it will reach a time where in the united opposition, that one candidate will be the only candidate they have to go for, I would like to imagine that their vision would be, it's because we are going to change the country, not because I have to be president. Indeed. So I'm that person who, you can't put me anywhere.
And don't label like that.
Yeah, don't label me. I am not an opposition. I am not. What you can label me as at now, this moment, is that I am a nominated senator under United Democratic Alliance as at this moment.
Okay.
But after that, I am Gloria Orwoba. If you notice my social media handles, I don't put honorable, senator, because who I am cannot be put in a title.
Gloria Orwoba has been our guest this hour. Thank you so much for being here this morning. A lot to look into and a lot to unpack for sure. And looking forward to seeing how this all
Thank you
opens
for
up in the
having
future.
me. Thank you.
Thank you very much for being here. It's 9:02. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.